Hi, today's verse is from Ezekiel chapter 2, and it's around verse 7. It says, "Don't be afraid of their mean words or their hard looks. They're a bunch of rebels. Your job is to speak to them. Whether they listen is not your concern." Now, this verse is what God is telling Ezekiel with regards to the people of Israel. So in this time in history, Israel has been defeated by the Babylonians. They've been taken out of Israel, and they're in exile from their home country. And they're rebelling against God right now. And so God is telling Ezekiel, you have to go and preach to the Israelites. You have to tell them this message. And then he tells them what he should be thinking while he's giving this message. He says, don't be afraid of their mean words or their hard looks. They're a bunch of rebels. Your job is to speak to them. Whether they listen is not your concern. So that is really interesting because so many times when, especially preachers, they feel a responsibility for the response to their message, or Christians who are talking about spiritual things with other people feel like they are responsible for the response that they get from their friends or from the people that they're talking to about the Lord. But that's not the case. And my pastor has said something one time, something like that obedience is your responsibility, but the response is God's responsibility. So if we keep that in mind, it makes following God's commands much easier. It makes obeying the Holy Spirit when the Holy Spirit says you need to talk to such and such about this topic. It makes that easier when you know, really, I am just the messenger. It's not my job to make this person respond to God the way that he wants them to. That's between them and God. It's not between me and that person. So that can make things easier, perhaps, when we have to bring up these tough conversations. And we can even, when they come up, we can even begin the conversation by saying that, look, I'm not here to change your mind about anything. I'm not here to argue with you or win an argument with you. I'm just here to give you information. And then what you do with that information is between you and the Lord. And that's the way it really is. That's what God said to Ezekiel. Whether or not they listen is not your concern. So keep that in mind. And when the Holy Spirit nudges you to give those messages or to say those certain things to those certain people, go ahead and do it, but without worrying about what the response is going to be. Just you worry about obeying, and then let God worry about what happens after that.